You play games. You do not play graphics. What's up, Nintendo gamers? The kid here. And there's been a trend with gamers as a whole. Well, at least a lot of gamers. A lot of gamers today, especially those with a PS4 and Xbox One, talk a lot about graphics. Even more so than gameplay. I mean, graphics is like priority right now when it comes to games. Gameplay, throw that out the window. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about graphics. Because graphics is everything. You play the game for the graphics. You actually play the graphics, right? That's what makes a game, right? Graphics, that makes the game enjoyable. Now, for one, I'm just going to state some things so that people who may visit this video and try to just be a complete jerk about things, graphics are nice to have, to be nice. Yes, people like nice graphics, always are going to like having a nice game. People are going to like that. That's period. But when it seems prioritized against gameplay, it's something majorly wrong. And I'm seeing a lot of that from PS4 and Xbox One gamers. They talk more about the graphical fidelity of a game than the gameplay, and overall complain about it too. Now, Xbox One hasn't been a 1080p at 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second console. On the other hand, PS4 has been that kind of, but it hasn't been that as a whole, you know. So people complain about it. You know, people complain about games on the Xbox One being 900p at 30 frames per second, and that's just such a disappointment. It's like, okay, but you know, I look at the games, and I'm not gonna list any type of games or anything, but I look at the games that are these resolution, and the game looks fine to me. Just play the game. I mean, obviously the developers made it that resolution and that frame rate so that the game actually runs smoothly and doesn't blow up your game system or runs like complete crap. I mean, there has to be some type of priority when creating a game. You know, you can't just, oh, we're gonna throw in 1080p, we're gonna throw in 60 frames per second or 30 frames per second, but you know what? This game is gonna have frequent stutters because of that. It's going to have glitches. There's going to be some game-breaking bugs incorporated into that. But hey, the game looks great, right? That's what y'all wanted, right? You wanted the game to look great, but at the same time, at the sacrifice of either the gameplay or the performance of the game. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo, and I'm not trying to tout Nintendo's horn or anything. Nintendo obviously has priorities with their console. You know, the Wii U. A lot of their games run at 720p at 60 frames per second. 60 frames per second is like their priority. Now, a lot of people say, and I really can't believe what I'm hearing with people, but a lot of people say that, oh, that's just because of art style. You know, it's not really doing anything graphically impressive. It's 60 frames per second because of art style. Why is art style so frowned upon, or it's just shunned as, oh, whatever? It's just art style. It's like, who cares? The game looks good, but art style lets it achieve that 60 frames per second. Why is art style so frowned upon with gamers, specifically Sony and Microsoft gamers? What's wrong with art style? If a game looks great, art style or not, it looks great. What's wrong with it having a certain style of its artistical look? What's wrong with that? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, if you look at games like Okami, and it ran ridiculously smooth and it was beautiful, 1080p, 60 frames per second on the Wii U. You know, people will say, oh, art style, you know, it's not doing anything graphically achieving, so the art style helps keep performance levels down and smooth. Okay, so what? The game looks great. Does it not? Does it matter? You know? This is what I'm talking about. Like, gamers have a warped view on priorities when it comes to game. There are games out there that have sacrificed gameplay and the performance of the game for graphical fidelity and just the spectacle and look of a game. There are games out there, and that's what I frown upon. As long as the game looks great, it's fine by me. If it plays great, it's fine by me. That's all I need. A great looking game that runs at the rate that it needs to actually perform well on your console or PC, and a game that plays well and is fun. That's all I need. That's my priority, or that's my views on what a game should be. Look great, plays great, and is fun. Period. Gamers, a lot of gamers right now, I'm not saying all, I'm not trying to generalize. A lot of gamers, it gotta look freaking fantastic, and the gameplay has to be good. Let's put emphasis on good. Just make sure it looks great. Gameplay good. Let's not have a real big standard on the gameplay. It just has to look good. And some people may call my standards low. A lot of people may call my standards low. Oh, well, your games that you like are in 720p at 60 frames per second, but they're not doing anything graphically impressive, so you accept that. I don't accept that. I have higher standards. I expect a game to run at 1080p 60 frames per second with the most awesome gameplay ever imaginable, with no stutters, no nothing, no sacrifice for anything. And those aren't my standards. My standards is just what I said. It looks great, it has great gameplay, and it's fun. Those are my standards, and I think that should be default any gamer's standard. Graphics should not ever warp those standards of having great graphics, great gameplay, and great fun. There are games out there like Uncharted that are going to be great looking. The gameplay is probably going to be the same as any other Uncharted, and those play great. So yes, that's great. They achieved that, the 80p at 60 frames per second, or at least they're targeting that, and with the great gameplay. I applaud them for that. But when Xbox One or PS4 has 900p at 30 frames or 60 frames per second, and that's all they can achieve to obviously make the game run smoothly, why is that such a bad thing? They're actually prioritizing their game run smoothly. And I know sometimes that doesn't mean the game is going to run smoothly. I know that graphics can look great, the gameplay could be crap, or the other way around. The graphics can be completely crap, but the gameplay is spectacular, which I say that gameplay is over everything, period. I mean, graphics have to look at least decent for me, I have a standard, like I said, I have a standard, but in some cases, there are times where the gameplay is phenomenal, which is the biggest priority, but the graphics are decent. I'm not going to say subpar, but decent, and that's acceptable to me. At least I'm having fun with the game. At least I'm getting some enjoyment from the game. The graphics may be, it could have been better, but hey, the game's fun. That's really all that counts, right? Apparently not. Not with gamers this day and age. Now, as far as my preferences for games, which I do have some, when it comes to the game's graphical and frame rate fidelity, I like 20 games that run at 60 frames per second. That's nice for me. If they run at 30, okay, that's fine. I don't really have a set like preference, you know, like it has to be that, or it's just like, ugh, I'm annoyed. It's like, ugh, 30 frames per second. Ugh. Why do I want to play a game that just doesn't look as smooth? Look at Mario, 60 frames per second. Ooh, that looks nice. But this game, it seems like the animations are stuttered by a second or something. Oh my god, I can't play this game. Oh, I can't, but it has to be 720p at 60 frames, or it's just crap. That's how some gamers act. Literally. You look at NeoGAF, you look at GameFAQs on those PS4 forums, that's how some gamers act. And that's not even always towards the system that they prefer, like the PS4. That's towards other people's consoles that they don't even have or want, like the Xbox One and the Wii U, especially the Wii U. You should go on the Wii U forums on GameFAQs. It is atrocious, and it is full of fanboys from other consoles, specifically PS4, and just plain out trolls, you know. So guys, that's my whole take on everything. People, get your priorities straight and get your standards straight, because they are massively warped. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.